Let me take you back to summer 2025. Florida just won their second straight Stanley Cup. All anyone can talk about is how great their management is, and wow, wouldn't you believe it? They just flipped this struggling former third-round pick to Washington in exchange for a second-round pick and a sixth-round pick, restocking the draft cupboards. All any analyst can say is that Florida just fleeced Washington, and it's kind of embarrassing they're allowed to get away with this. They did it before, and they just did it again. Except, I don't mean Florida did it before and did it again. I mean Washington's scouting staff is on a generational run who just found the best defensive rookie in the league from right under everyone's noses. Meet Justin Sourdif, Washington's most recent prized possession and the most underrated rookie in the league. This is Justin Sourdif, a 6 foot, 195 pound center winger who has always been a good to great skater, but basically reinvented the defensive side of his game since turning pro. But through the first month of the season, he wasn't turning any heads. But everything changed when Sourdif got his big break. Pierre-Luc Dubois unfortunately went out with injury. The McMichael, Dubois, Wilson line was electric last year, having a center who can carry the rush alongside the active defenseman while McMichael and Wilson are heavy on the forecheck was a near perfect stylistic match. But when Dubois went out for 3 to 4 months after getting surgery on his abs, tough. The Capitals didn't really know who to put in that second line center spot. They tried a bunch of combinations before finally realizing, damn, Justin Sourdif works really, really well as our second line center. So what makes Sourdif so good? Well, the bread and butter of Sourdif's game is his skating. In terms of pure numbers here, he's in the top quartile for basically every skating metric. He has a strong high-end speed and he gets up to speed a lot throughout the game. This comes with the acceleration you would want from a feisty bottom six forward. He beats guys out all the time in straight line races, and it contributes to him having some genuinely strong puck battling metrics. I think one thing scouts may not love about his game is that he doesn't necessarily have the longest strides in the world. There's going to be a limit to his top end speed because of this, but he does make up for it by moving his legs a ton. I wouldn't say his style is super efficient, but he does have the energy and it's a big contributor to his agility and acceleration. Overall, Sourdif's one of the most agile players in the NHL. And he has a great sense for how to use his skating efficiently. As a 50-50 at Washington's blue line is materializing, notice how Sourdif keeps his speed until he finds a chance to pounce where he can clear the puck from the zone. Then he straight line beats out Luke Hughes, one of the fastest defensemen in the sport, and hits the break fast enough to basically lose Brett Pesce. He doesn't have any support from the right defenseman, so he chucks it across the zone where Protas can get to it first. Little moments like this tilt the ice into Washington's favor over the course of the game, and that's why since moving up to the Wilson Protas line, Sourdif's on-ice metrics are absurd, like dominant 5v5 hockey when the three of them are together. As a line, they have a 62.2% expected goals percentage, which is the third best from a top six line this season, just behind the McDavid, Hyman, Nuge trio and the Marner, Dorofeyev, Hurdle trio down in Vegas. And it's not just skating to be a grinder either. Sourdif's got a great head for knowing how to conceal his direction and intention. Pair that with the agility and it leads to him currently sitting 56 in the NHL in successful digs per game. The offensive ceiling is definitely there from a skating standpoint. It's the skill and agility kind of meshing with open ice transition hockey that Washington loves ripping. And speaking of, it's firing at all cylinders this year. Washington's rush-based game has hit a new level this season. There's currently 12 guys on Washington in the top 100 for counterattack shots this season. It's the most of any team via Instat data. If you're a rush-based team, you're going to have to be good at defending the rush, and that's why Washington's defensemen are perfect. John Carlson's in the middle of one of the best seasons of his career at 35 years old, and a large part of that is how well he works under Spencer Carberry's system. He breaks up Laugh's attempt towards the middle. Mind you, a big part of this system is having a forward there to offer support. Frank looks pretty poised, establishing body positioning on Zibanejad, picks it up along the boards, and now the Caps are in charge. The Caps love to bring a defenseman into the play to create a man advantage on the rush. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the New York Rangers are the hardest working group of Selke winners in the league, but if you're not ready, the Caps will pounce on you with their rush system, especially with how many guys Washington has been adding with a lot of speed. Ethan Frank, ever heard of him? I haven't. I don't even know how to spell his first name, apparently, but he set the record for fastest skater ever in the AHL skills competition last year. Protas is like a maxed out horse you can get in Red Dead Redemption. Sonny Milano loves skating in his free time, and Tom Wilson is just sick. And then obviously Justin Sourdif, among so many other great skaters on this team. But being a fast skater isn't everything. Chad Hedrick surprisingly never got an NHL deal after winning bronze at the 2010 Winter Olympics for speed skating. I called around to try to figure out why, and apparently apparently he just never played hockey, which means apparently you can have speed, but to be useful, you also need to think the game quickly. And that's Justin Sourdif. Watch him on this shift. As soon as there's a loose puck that the Caps can pick up, Sourdif is off to the races. He starts as a last man back, but turning on the burners pushes Hamilton back a bit before stopping up to support the breakout. Sick play in the neutral zone burned by Hamilton, but that wasn't just a lucky play. He checked Hamilton's gap twice before turning to face the puck. Once he picks it up, he knows there's going to be room in the center of the ice where he can find Matt Roy, a defenseman, for the shot off the rush. For good measure, on the back check, he knows his man is Connor Brown. Check out how attentive he is to making sure he's covering his guy. Actually, I think he's checking to see if you're subscribed. Personally, I would not want to make this guy pissed. I would just subscribe if I was you. But hey, you do you. Statistically, Sourdif is in the top 20% of the NHL for both breakouts per game and zone entries per game via stick handling. He's confident in his control of the game, and I'm pretty damn confident in it too. I hope you are too. In the defensive end, Sourdif plays a super responsible game. Being a great skater, he's actually leading all Capitals forwards in defensive zone takeaways per game, a stat that you notice when you watch him in the defensive end. Part of it is a lot of heads-up hockey. He's always keeping a mental map of the play, but being able to poke the puck into the opposite corner, knowing you're going to get there first, is a massive advantage. But then the other part of that is that Sourdif is actually pretty dense. He's 200 pounds at 6 foot. A BMI calculator would probably call him overweight, except he's all muscle. It's kind of like a pit bull, I guess. He can drop guys if he wants, but he more often uses his size to win puck battles, basically. There's a couple hits per season, though. You know, he gets after it every now and then. He can lay some hammers. But overall, his defensive game is built around high IQ and basically having every physical tool you need to be a pest along the boards and on the back check. It's why he ranks near the very top of the league in defensive contribution, and it's why every advanced stat is glazing the hell out of him. When he's on the ice, the Caps don't give up all that much at all. But really, the reason we're all here, is because of Sourdif's hat trick the other night. Before being drafted, there were two things I was certain about this guy. One, he's a hard worker. Two, he can shoot the pill. Some things never change because looking at how great he's been over the last few months, we're really starting to see what Sourdif can do now that the game has slowed down for him a bit. He got a hat trick against Anaheim in a 5-point SmackDown Raw WWE get fucking burned. 3 great goals, and each one highlights a part of Sourdif's game that makes him a genuine top 6 forward. You can be a fast skater, but what matters more is controlling your speed. Sourdif finds a gap behind McMichael, and after a pretty little play, his quick release takes about half a second from the puck touching his blade to sitting in the back of the net. The first goal highlights how good he is at finding the soft ice and working off of other players. But when there's a chance to get going, Sourdif gets going. He turns on the jets and establishes his ice before ripping it short side for the second goal of the period. That's a sniz, but even though I'm glazing the hell out of Sourdif right now, I wouldn't say you can expect this kind of shot every game. Looking back at his AHL shot map from last season, it's actually pretty clear that when Sourdif shoots high, he isn't exactly a sniper. A lot of his shots he ends up shooting low, which is why on the hat-trick goal, you're seeing the prototypical Justin Sourdif experience. If there's one goal that breaks down why he's so valuable for the Capitals, it's this one. Breakout. Go wide and drop a banana for Cutter, and then using the developing 4-on-2 to push the defenders back, take it to the rack, and get the tap in from Leonard. It's textbook. That's a great way to get your first career hat trick. He's fired up. I'm fired up. Drake and Weezy are fired up. It's a great night to be a Caps fan. Justin Sourdif is a shoot first, two-way forward with a lot of speed and a lot of underrated skill. The fact that Washington prioritized picking him up this summer, it's a testament to their pro scouting and what they've been able to do to maximize the OV era. If I were to give a player comparison for peak Justin Sourdif, I would say maybe like prime Blake Coleman. Bit of a dust comparison, I guess, but he was traded for the equivalent of 2 first-round picks, and then he went on to win 2 cups with Tampa. If Washington can get that for a second-round pick, that's a home run. And honestly, I wouldn't put it past Sourdif to hit a higher peak than Coleman at some point. Maybe you're talking like a Brandon Hagel kind of player. Washington did it again. Early in this decade, they were considered the team that's the closest to falling off a cliff. The sentiment was that they're trying to prop up the team so that Ovi can hit the goal record and that the games didn't even matter. But guess what? Through a litany of smart decisions, they figured out how to build a contender with a ton of prospects on the way. It's a masterclass in asset management, and it's proof you don't need to tear it all down to build a contender. Justin Sourdif is another in a long line of success stories from the best managed team in the NHL. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.